Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, here on the coast today. Aaron, go ahead and say hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
Alright, in this video we're going to be talking about the brand new college football playoff rankings heading into week 13, the final week of the regular season here in the college football world. Take a look at those rankings. Pretty important this time of year, obviously, as we get closer to the playoff season. Starting off with Georgia, ranked number 1, obviously, after steamrolling Tennessee. They're going to be playing Georgia Tech this upcoming week, so probably going to end up going undefeated this regular season, heading into the SEC championship game against Bama. Ranked number 2, we have Ohio State, who will be taking on Michigan in a huge game this upcoming week. We'll be talking about Michigan here in a second. Do what?
Number 3, Michigan.
Number 3, Michigan. We'll be talking about them here in a second. Because Michigan is, as you said, still number 3 after barely overcoming a really tough Maryland team in a game that was a lot closer than it probably should have been, Aaron.
Yeah. I mean, all things considered, Michigan being the number 3 team should have easily taken care of a Maryland team that's, kind of had an up and down season. Mm-hmm. Nobody really knows what's going on, why Michigan is struggling to pass the ball. J.J. McCarthy's, struggled these last 2 games, and whether it's a result of Harbaugh not being there and their interim head coach being really conservative, they've just almost refused to really put it in his hands to win these games. They've been really relying on the run game. So there's some concerns heading into this Ohio State game coming up for Michigan at the quarterback position. Yeah,
it'll be really interesting to see how that team can perform against Ohio State. Obviously, second best team in the nation, right there. This game really probably determines which one of those two goes to the college football playoffs. Of course, would they play again in the Big Ten? Oh no, they're in the same division. They're in the same division. So
it'll most likely be Iowa.
The
winner will face Iowa.
So unless the winner of this game loses to Iowa, the winner of this game is probably going to be the only Big Ten team in the college football playoff. So huge game, obviously, between those two. Moving on to number 4, ranked Washington, jumping Florida State, obviously, after really tough stuff happened for the Seminoles. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but Washington with a surely easy winnable game against Washington State this upcoming week, but Washington State I think can be a little bit feisty at times. So what do you think? Do you think Washington's got a little bit of a fight on their hands?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what people were saying last week. I think Washington State and Oregon State are the 2 teams that are kind of left out in this conference realignment, and they're going to be operating as like a conference of 2 these next 2 seasons. It'll be funny to see how that kind of plays out. But yeah, they got a chance to play spoiler, and both teams actually have a chance to play spoiler this week. Oregon State playing Oregon, and Washington State playing Washington, and really spoiling the Pac-12's chances here in this college football playoff race.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they could both just kind of give the middle finger to their respective in-state rivals this week and just kind of be like, oh, y'all want to leave? Okay, bet. So yeah, it'll be funny to see what happens between Washington State and Oregon State, which we'll talk about here after we get to the whole Seminoles from Florida State's issue. Obviously, their starting quarterback Jordan Travis going down with a season-ending injury. His leg turned sideways, guys. It was pretty bad. not looking good for him coming back this year. Not saying it's like career ending, but definitely season ending. So that's terrible here. Prayers go out to him and his family. Going through that sucks. But Florida State's chances kind of seem like they've been dashed with all that going on. Obviously, they fell down one spot in the rankings. I think largely due to that. They got a tough game against Louisville coming up this week, I think. No, they're playing Florida this week, then Louisville in the championship game. So those are two. Obviously, Florida still needs one more win to get a bowl game. With Jordan Travis going down, this is a great opportunity for them to do that. So I think this could be a really tough game for the Seminoles. And then obviously, if they do make it past this, they're gonna have a really tough game against the Cardinals from Louisville. So yeah, real tough sledding for Louisville or for Florida State going forward to make the college football playoffs. Maybe they can do it for Jordan. That'd be awesome to see. But we'll have to wait and see. What are your thoughts on the Seminoles going forward?
I think they were kind of in a tough spot before Jordan Travis went down.
Yeah.
Now they need to win, and they need to win convincingly to kind of prove that they belong, and they're more than likely going to need some help from someone in that Pac-12, whether it be Washington State or
Well, you would
Oregon.
have to assume, though, if Florida State wins out, they would probably take the place of either Michigan or Ohio State, right?
Not necessarily.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think they need to win convincingly.
Yeah.
I think you put a one-loss Texas team over undefeated, questionable backup quarterback,
Yeah.
Florida State. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
They're proven they beat Alabama earlier in the season. They've got a decent resume, I think.
That's true.
Despite their struggles later in the season too, Ewers coming back.
Right.
I think you got to put them above Florida State, which is ridiculous to say, but it's honestly true.
Okay. Well, I guess that brings us to Oregon, who I'm curious now, in your minds, if they win the Pac-12 championship game against Washington, would you put Oregon in the college football playoffs?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be assuming Georgia stays undefeated, it'd be Georgia,
Right.
winner of Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, and Texas.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. What if Texas loses to Oklahoma?
Alabama.
Even though Alabama would assumingly lose to Georgia?
Ooh, I forgot about that.
Or do you think?
I think
Do you think
No,
the
no,
kitty
no,
cats
shut your mouth.
from
No,
Columbia
absolutely
could make
Absolutely
the
not.
college
No.
football playoffs?
no. It would be Florida State then, or
What
I
if
guess
Florida State loses to Louisville?
Washington.
What if Washington loses to Washington State and Oregon?
Florida State.
What if Florida State
Or
loses to
Louisville. I guess
What if
Louisville
Florida
would go if
State
they beat
What
Florida
if
State.
Florida State loses to Florida and Louisville?
Alabama.
Even over us?
Yes.
But we would be ranked higher than them after they lose. Would we not?
I don't know. I don't know if we jump them if they lose to Georgia.
I think this Jordan Travis injury may have opened up Missouri's window.
I think you need to bust out your scroll.
I think this Jordan Travis no, I think probably what would happen is both Big Ten teams would probably make it.
Probably.
Yeah, I think they would probably both make it if it came down to that. So, um, but speaking of Texas, you brought up Texas a lot. Obviously, they have a game against Texas Tech this week. Should win that. It is rivalry weekend, so you never know. But they should win convincingly against Texas Tech and then go into the Big 12 championship game against, you would assume, Oklahoma. But with the Big 12 this year, you never know what'll happen.
I think it's technically Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. Because they beat Oklahoma.
Oh, that's right, they did. Oh, well. It might be... Well, who does Oklahoma State play, though? They play... BYU. Weird.
Yeah, that should be. It should be an easy win.
Yeah, well, you would have thought...
Oklahoma struggling.
You would have thought
against them last week.
You would have thought UCF would have been an easy win, too, so... and they got beat by 42. So
it's a different team. It's a different team.
So that's what I was about to say. Is you never know in this Big 12 this year. It's been a really weird conference. Everybody kind of beats up on each other. So Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, K-State. It's gonna be one of those teams. Texas should probably win, regardless, right? They should win the Big 12. Yeah.
Yeah. They should.
They should. They should. They should indeed. Oh, man. And then I guess that brings us to the Crimson Tide at number 8. Alabama obviously taking on a really, really tough Chattanooga team this past week. Really took it to them. Real dogfight. You know, Alabama just they only play good teams down the stretch of the seasons. You know, yeah, real nice guys. Beat up on the cannon fodder. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. No, this week they got Auburn in the Iron Bowl, and then after that, win or lose, they're gonna take on Georgia in the SEC championship game. So, what do you think, Aaron? Do you think there's any chance that Auburn pulls this out? I mean, they've upset Bama in the past in Iron Bowl matchups, and kind of, you know, snuffed out any chance that Bama had at making a natty. So, do you think that the same could happen this year?
There is some weird juju down there when it comes to the Iron Bowl. But Auburn just lost to like New Mexico State.
Well, they're mad then. They're extra motivated.
Yeah, New Mexico State, who I guess is not a bad team, is supposed to be competing for their conference championship. But it nonetheless, not a game an SEC team should lose. Much less a program that's, you know, as vaunted as Auburn should be. I don't think Alabama has too much to worry about.
Yeah, another Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Bama's going to cruise into the SEC championship game, and then, man, if they could knock off Georgia in that, it'd be interesting to see what happens, because that could mess a lot of stuff up there in the CFP bracket. So, guess we'll round it off with the top 10. Starting off with our number 9, Missouri. Winning a nail-biter against Florida, that should have been a lot easier of a win than it was. But hey, a win is a win at this point in the year, so I will take it. I got a really cool picture of Brady Cook with the crowd behind him now, so that was cool. You know, Gator Chop, baby. But Harrison Mevis, Gator Chop, baby, after hitting that game-winning kick. His second or third of the year, I don't know which. All I know is that he hit the longest game-winning field goal in SEC history. So that's pretty cool. Missouri Tigers got an outside chance of making it to the CFP this year. All they got to do is knock off Arkansas and then hope for the dice to roll their way from there on out. But at the very least, they've got a really good shot at New Year's Six Bowl. Aaron, what are your thoughts of the Missouri Tigers as they go in to a rivalry weekend against the Razorbacks?
Like I said, against Florida, should be an easy win. Granted, with Florida, you never know which Florida's showing up.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, we've kind of handled our business when it comes to Arkansas in this rivalry matchup since we've won the SEC. So I expect what should be an easy win.
I was looking it up Sunday. I think we're officially 500 against SEC teams all time.
Look at us.
Not since joining, because we're still got to win 17 more games or something like that. But all time. So, pretty cool. But, look at the last team in the top 10, the Louisville Cardinals. After overcoming a really, really angry Miami Hurricanes team that was determined to get the W, Louisville just coming up with the win after Miami came up short with the game-winning Hail Mary attempt, I believe. But and who is Louisville playing this week?
Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky, that's right. But looking forward, Kentucky's obviously starting off early in the season. They were kind of looked at to be a pretty solid team this year, and then they came out and were meh. 6-5, pretty average, but a good enough team to maybe knock off a Louisville team that's could maybe take Kentucky under. Take Kentucky lightly? Sorry. What do you think, Aaron? Do you think? Gee, I don't know where I was going with that. Do you think Kentucky's got a good shot at knocking off Louisville?
Yeah, I think Kentucky's matches up pretty well. Both teams like to run the ball. Whether or not Kentucky can get its receivers to catch the ball, they kind of have had some drop problems this year.
Yeah.
So if they can get that figured out for this game, I think they got a good shot at upsetting a kind of struggling Louisville team. They struggled last week against Miami in a close win. So I think they've got a decent shot.
Yeah, well, and if Louisville loses to this Kentucky team, it just makes Missouri look even better going forward, because obviously Missouri beat the ever-living crap out of Kentucky this year, I believe. So, we definitely beat them. I don't know if it was ever-living crap, but I think we beat them.
It was sketchy for a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little sketchy in the first half. They had us in the first half, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I mean, outside of the top 10, is there anything else that kind of... Oh, I guess continuing with Louisville, they've got the Florida State matchup in the ACC championship game after this Kentucky game. Do you think that Louisville could maybe... I mean, especially with the Jordan Travis injury, we may have talked about it earlier. Do you think Louisville's got any chance at knocking off that Florida State team?
I do. I think minus Jordan Travis, they're pretty evenly matched. So it'll be interesting to watch both teams this week and kind of see where they're at going into that ACC championship game.
Yeah. And I mean, all I'm going to say is if Louisville loses to Kentucky, beats Florida State, Michigan, loses to Ohio State, or Ohio State loses to Michigan, and then or whoever wins that game loses to Iowa. Georgia beats Bama. Oklahoma or Oklahoma State beats Texas. You know.
You're just fishing, aren't you?
Maybe Washington beats Washington State, or Washington State beats Washington, or Oregon State beats Oregon. And then, maybe whoever doesn't win this week loses, or wins next week against the other guy. And maybe Missouri finds themselves in the college football playoffs. I don't know, man. It's honestly not as much as I would have thought it would be to get us there. In the grand scheme of things, like Kentucky could beat Louisville, Oregon State could beat Oregon, Oregon could still beat Washington after that, and then Louisville could still beat Florida State after losing to Kentucky. And let's not forget that Oklahoma State could beat Texas. Oh, and of course, Iowa could definitely beat Ohio State or Michigan. So, all I'm saying is there's a chance, man. There's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Saying there's a chance. But if you got nothing else, Aaron, I think that'll be it for this episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle, here with my co-host today, Aaron. Go ahead and say bye, Aaron.
Bye, Aaron.
All right. That'll do it. Deuces.